Hey everyone, off the mic Sports Network here. More reaction to the Kansas City Chiefs going to another Super Bowl 32-29 over the Buffalo Bills. They get revenge for the regular season matchup, and the Bills still cannot conquer the Chiefs in the playoffs. They can't do it. They couldn't do it. They were 13 seconds away from it a few years ago. This game had a lot of the feel to it. They had 3.5 minutes. They had the ball. They had a fourth down where the pass was dropped by Dalton Kincaid. There's a lot of ways I can go with this for the Buffalo side. One thing that I'm not going to take from Bills fans is say, hey, the officials cost us this game. Because when you've got a quarterback, and I've said this on other videos, when you've got a quarterback like Josh Allen and you're running the brotherly shove or the Buffalo Stampede or whatever the hell you want to call it, you should be able to get a yard or half a yard. Whether that ball was spotted incorrectly or not, that shouldn't have been a debate. So I have no sympathy whatsoever. I'll tell you the real reason why the Buffalo Bills lost this game, and it's going to go underreported because this weird narrative within the media that the Chiefs get all the calls and the Chiefs benefit from everything is just absurd. Sean McDermott did what he does best and failed in a big game because there were multiple instances in this game that absolutely just baffled me. They had a situation in the first half where it was 21-16, under 2 minutes to go in the half. They kick an extra point. I believe it was an offside. I can't remember what it was, but there was a penalty. And so they rule it half the distance, and the Bills opt to go for two, and they run the Josh Allen, tush push, which didn't fail, which is foreshadowing to what happened later in the game. And it didn't work again. And so they end up being down 21-16. They took a point off the board in a game that ended 32-29. You think that point would have been valuable? Then they compound it by going for two again and not getting it. And that's what ultimately led to this margin of defeat. I know Sean McDermott's been in the firestorm for a long time with this Buffalo team. At this point, I think you can't have him come back. Like, there was a weird challenge. There was that controversial catch, no catch, where Xavier Worthy pulled it away from, I forgot who it was. It might have been Kaiir Elam. But it was a play that was controversial. And so Sean McDermott, for some reason, throws a challenge flag for it, even though there was a defensive penalty on it. So that was a weird thing. That really didn't have much of an impact on what transpired at the end of this game. But these weird decisions, and defensively, they just, after the controversial, and he's a big part of the defense with Bobby Babich, who runs their defense, to allow Patrick Mahomes to basically march down the field after you couldn't get a first down. That's inexcusable. We've been over this so many times with Sean McDermott, and yeah, he got the Bills over the hump and we're able to get them into, Sean McDermott was able to get this team to the playoffs where they hadn't been for a long, long time, and has got them on this great run of success. But this was the team. Actually, the last 2 years were the team that should have beaten this Kansas City Chiefs team. And they beat them in the regular season. They've beaten them in the regular season extensively over the last couple years, but they've been unable to conquer the Chiefs. And again, those 2-point conversion decisions and those fourth down decisions are going to haunt this team. Josh Allen was almost able to bail this team out on his own, and yet we're going to migrate to, hey, why did the Bills lose? The officials, because they spotted. Why don't you guys look at your head coach and understand the value of points? Because Sean McDermott's been doing this and been making weird decisions for a long time, but I had no idea why you get a gift touchdown at the end of the half where Matt Collins makes an unbelievable play in the end zone. And it's 21-16. You get the extra point. It's 21-17. And, Kansas City's getting the ball. They're getting the ball out of half. If you get a stop, hey, you could potentially go up 24-21. And yet, for some reason, he decides to take it off the board. And yeah, I understand that you have a 6'5" big-time quarterback that can get it, but you saw it twice in this game. It didn't work. And that's just a function of just, baffling, execution, and schematically, it's just a flaw in what they do in terms of their tush push. Like, why are you having multiple wide receivers? You should have multiple big people. You have a fullback. You've got multiple tight ends that you could throw in there. Extra offense. Do whatever you got to do. You shouldn't be having multiple wide receivers. It's just it doesn't make any sense to me. So if I'm the Buffalo Bills, what I heavily consider doing, considering what has transpired in the coaching cycle here, and I said the same thing about Todd Bowles when and they missed out on, and the Bucks missed out on an opportunity to fire Todd Bowles and go to Liam Cohen. What I would do if I'm Buffalo, Sean McDermott can't come back. I don't think they'll do it because this guy has won and gotten this team to the precipice of this place, and they haven't been on this level very competitive this extended run of success for like 30 years since Jim Kelly was there. But I would get rid of Sean McDermott and I would promote Joe Brady to head coach. Because if you don't do that, even though he said he'd come back and the Saints job is now open and he turned it down, you better believe if something doesn't go right in Cincinnati, Cincinnati's going to be ready to fire Zach Taylor and go get Joe Brady, who was the college coordinator for Joe Burrow. Okay? So if I'm Buffalo, the clock's ticking. I would absolutely consider getting rid of Sean McDermott and promoting Joe Brady. After what happened in this game, some of the decisions that were made, this is too talented of a team. And some people will say, man, you're going to go to a first-time head coach. Dude, everybody's thought Joe Brady was ready to be a head coach, even though he's 35 years old. It's just, at some point, enough's enough. And you've had it. And Sean McDermott's been able to win games for this team. But they caused themselves this game. It wasn't the officials. There was decisions where points were taken off the board, and then you chased them when you went up 22-21, and you couldn't get the conversion there. And then a weird challenge when a defensive penalty was already there, and you were basically playing field position. Like, I just don't know how Brandon Beane and the ownership can allow Sean McDermott to come back. I think that the move that you have to do is bump up Joe Brady and get rid of Sean McDermott. Maybe you keep Babich. Maybe you try and bring in a more experienced, like a head coach level defensive coordinator. But I just can't see how you can continue to do this. This was the best opportunity. The last 2 years were the best opportunity for this Buffalo Bills team to ultimately win the AFC Championship and go to the Super Bowl. And here we are. It wasn't the officials that helped the Chiefs win this. Bills fans, look at your head coach. You need to get rid of him. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.